I would venture to say that even though they never got into debt, I don't know if that would be the best way for them to mature into fiscally responsible adults, because sooner or later they will have to know how to balance their budget when they enter the real world. So, okay, what about relational accountability? And by this I mean, how does your child relate to other people? And I think under the tunnel vision of simply grades and nothing else, then this area actually does not get addressed. And I'm actually very glad that some of the speakers have brought up this point, because let's face it, some of the biggest and toughest things that your kid might go through is having a troublesome roommate. And what is going to happen if your child does not know how to settle conflict in that regard? And actually, I would go as far as to say this. I actually experienced this myself too. Actually, another one from my friends have also told me, if the kid does not experience conflict with you, if the kid does not know how to challenge you or to say no to you, then what makes you think that the kid will be able to challenge people outside the house? What makes the kid think that he will have the security to be able to say no to someone else and not be overburdened by the other person's abandonment? So does that make sense? Yeah. Okay, another big topic that is very prevalent in relational accountability, dating. And I'm very glad that we've also brought this up. It is my hope for your children that their philosophy and their approach to dating is not from the media, because I believe that the media has a very skewed version of what it means to be romantic or to express your sexual needs or desires. So again, I know it's also a very touchy, sensitive topic, and I'm also very glad that other people have addressed it. I think they explained it better than I probably could. All right, so other just a general decision. I think I think a good definition of maturity is to be able to make the right decision at the right time for the right reason. And so there's just, college will be a great time for the kids to explore and to individuate themselves. And a lot of the times there are, there are choices, there are a lot of clubs, there are a lot of organizations that are good. And I would definitely encourage your kids to try them all out. However, there are some legitimately dangerous things. And I remember I was walking home from class one day, and a guy approached me and he asked me, "Hey, what's your name?" And I said, "Oh, I'm Michael." And he said, "Oh, well, I am part of this church that is like 5 minutes driving distance down the street, and we're actually having a party tonight. So, if it's okay with you, I would like to ask you for your number, and then we can come and pick you up and take you to our church party tonight." So, of course, I was very uncomfortable with this interaction. And in my mind, I was like, if these guys could be any more obvious as a cult, I would like to see how that would be. The reality in college is, cults do exist. And they will try and hook you in. And I think it is important for us as parents to be able to have kids experience these things, so that when they come across another situation, that the natural consequences will not be as grave as otherwise. Another situation that I came across before was someone asked me if I wanted a job, and this job could be quite lucrative. So I said yes, and he sat me down with 2 or 3 other college students, and we talked, and he asked, so he kind of went through the presentation, and he made it very clear that this was a classic pyramid scheme. So, I pay him $500 up front, and he tells me for every additional person that I bring to another similar presentation like this, I get paid like $100. So it's a classic pyramid scheme. Those who profit the most are the originators, and it's a very shady practice. But that these things exist, and these things are prevalent in our colleges. And it is my hope that, as parents, that you will be able to have that communication involved with your children. And actually, in both of these situations, I did later on talk with my dad about them, and like the other good doctor said, he actually did empathize with me, and he listened to what I had to say, and he affirmed how I felt about it, which was, I felt a little bit angry that people would try and manipulate me like this. And I actually think that was a very good bonding experience between me and my dad. So okay, I do want to conclude with just kind of general guidelines based on what we all talked about. First is, to be supportive of your child, because let's be real, that there are lots of pressures out there. It's not just pressure from you guys as parents, but from their peers, the pressure they put on themselves. A lot of the times, kids will be their own worst critics. And I think it is crucial in those times that parents, you must be their biggest fan. Even though they might not appreciate it at first, even though they might react negatively to it, it is important that you just communicate that you will be there to support them. And like we said before, being a reflective listener definitely helps instead of coming in as a teacher. Second, be very involved. I know a lot of times that, especially in the Confucian Eastern culture, there is a prevalent hierarchical authoritarian, like I'm the dad and you are the kid, like that's the paradigm. However, in the teenage years, I think what ought to be pushed more is, okay, we are both going to be adults and we can relate to each other as such. And I think doing so would definitely empower the kid and help him feel more validated in what he's going through, and giving him more ownership of what he has in front of him will definitely also help him mature into a responsible adult. Thirdly, be firm. Always have consequences, because the reality is, like my friend Greg in the very beginning, who took his tuition for granted by partying it up and playing games until 3 a.m., 4 a.m. Have consequences. And if consequences mean that you stop paying his tuition, you stop him from just screwing around, then so be it. If that means that he flunks out, if that means he has to come home, then have him come home and then establish consequences. Say, you don't just stay at home and play video games. You got to pay rent. If you don't know how to get money, then go find work. And under my house, you live. You got to help out with the chores. That's what it takes for you to, grow up a little bit. And I think it's important to also be firm when there is that need to be there. And finally, be patient, because maturity and responsibility is a lifelong process. I would eventually say I'm still learning right now, and these things do take time. So I do want to conclude, I am part of a church, Good Shepherd Christian Church. We meet on Stellian, and we are a congregation full of Asian American young adults and Asian American teenagers, and a lot of us go through this, have gone through this. And our pastor and his wife are actually both very professional counselors, and they have experiences with kids, teenagers my age and a little younger. So if you parents do have any situations where you feel like you are not in control and it's beyond your understanding, do not hesitate to talk to me about it, and I can